The Modern Autopsy of Princess Helena, the Forgotten Healer. She wasn't the scandal, or the beauty, or the rebel. Princess Helena, Queen Victoria's third daughter, lived a life that seemed quiet on the surface. But beneath the lace and loyalty, her body told a story of pain, perseverance, and a slow surrender to the illnesses of her own age. This is the modern autopsy of Princess Helena, the daughter who tried to heal others while her own body broke down. The dutiful child. Helena Augusta Victoria was born in 1846, the dependable middle child of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha. Where her elder sisters sparkled in the spotlight, Helena preferred quiet rooms, books, and work. Her mother described her as "my most useful child," which in royal language meant the one who never complains. As a girl, she watched her father fall ill with typhoid and die in 1861. The grief tore through the family like a plague. For Queen Victoria, mourning became a religion. For Helena, it became her calling. She tended her mother's endless ailments, fetched letters, copied correspondence. Her days were filled with care, not joy. By the age of 16, she was already developing the chronic pain and fatigue that would follow her all her life. Modern medicine would recognize the early signs of autoimmune inflammation or chronic fatigue syndrome, triggered by emotional strain and overwork. The marriage of convenience. When Helena married Prince Christian of Schleswig-Holstein in 1866, the match raised eyebrows. He was 20 years older, a minor German prince with no fortune and no ambition. But Queen Victoria approved, because it meant keeping Helena close to home. Helena didn't protest. Perhaps she didn't dare. The marriage was, at first, affectionate, but overshadowed by her mother's domination. They lived at Frogmore House near Windsor, where Queen Victoria could summon them at will. Helena became her mother's nurse, secretary, and emotional buffer, roles she never escaped. Pregnancy followed pregnancy, 6 in total, but only 2 of her children survived to adulthood. The repeated miscarriages and stillbirths left her body frail and her heart scarred. In her letters she wrote, "There are moments when I feel my strength has gone forever, and yet I must smile, for Mamma cannot bear tears." Modern medicine would suspect uterine prolapse, chronic anemia, and postpartum depression, untreated, invisible, and unspoken. The healer of others. Despite her pain, Helena became one of the most active royals of her generation. She co-founded the British Red Cross and the Royal British Nurses Association, championing professional training for nurses, a radical idea in the 19th century. She visited hospitals, inspected wards, and wrote medical correspondence on behalf of Queen Victoria. When she spoke, she used the language of duty. When she suffered, she called it nerves. Her doctors prescribed tonics laced with strychnine and arsenic, common Victorian stimulants. They gave her morphine for her back pain, bromide for her insomnia, and port wine for her fainting spells. In short, they poisoned her politely. A modern toxicology screen would show years of low-grade heavy metal poisoning, enough to dull pain but destroy digestion, liver function, and sleep cycles. Helena's dedication to medicine was real, but she was being slowly undone by it. The body begins to fail. By her 50s, Helena was suffering from crippling arthritis. Her hands, once elegant, became swollen and misshapen. She could barely hold a pen. Photographs from her later life show her shoulders slumped, her eyes dark and distant, the posture of constant pain. Doctors described her condition as rheumatism. Modern medicine would diagnose rheumatoid arthritis, an autoimmune disease where the body attacks its own joints. In Helena's case, the triggers were written into her life: chronic stress, grief, loss, and physical exhaustion. And yet she refused to stop working. Even in her 60s, she still chaired nursing councils and charities. her hands wrapped in silk gloves to hide the swelling. The Twilight years. As the new century dawned, the world changed, but Helena did not. Her siblings died one by one, Alice from diphtheria, Alfred from cancer, and finally her mother, Queen Victoria, in 1901. Each loss carved another piece out of her. She once wrote, "It is as though my body has followed my heart into mourning. I ache in every limb." By her 70s, her arthritis had fused her joints. She walked with canes and could no longer climb stairs. Her breathing grew laboured, likely from heart failure brought on by years of inflammation and pain medication. Her family described her as stoical, brave, uncomplaining. But her final years were marked by isolation, insomnia, and chronic pain, the inevitable result of a lifetime spent healing others while ignoring herself.
On June 9th, 1923, at Schomburgk House in London, Princess Helena quietly died in her sleep. She was 77. The Modern Autopsy. If we laid her on a modern autopsy table, the evidence would speak volumes. Her joints would show severe rheumatoid fusion, bones eroded, cartilage gone. Her lungs would reveal scarring from decades of shallow breathing and chronic inflammation. Her liver would show toxic residue, morphine, arsenic, mercury from Victorian tonics. Her heart would be enlarged, the valves stiffened, the classic signature of chronic autoimmune disease and long-term stress. But perhaps the most telling sign would be her adrenal glands, shrunken and exhausted, proof of a lifetime overrun by cortisol, the hormone of endurance. The verdict. Princess Helena's body tells the story of a woman who gave everything and was forgotten for it. Her organs record a lifetime of service. Her bones remember the weight of duty. Her blood carries the trace of every sleepless night spent caring for others. She didn't die of one disease. She died of all of them, the kind that come from carrying everyone else's burdens too long. The official cause? Heart failure. The truth? She died of devotion. This was the modern autopsy of Princess Helena, the forgotten healer. Subscribe for more royal autopsies, because even the quiet ones leave the deepest marks.